And murder is never a valid choice. Murder is never a valid choice.
Why don't we worry about the children that are already born? How many children that are born are murdered every year? Wouldn't your time and effort be better spent saving the ones that are already born?
That's what the justice. So every human being has value from the moment of conception. From then, you have a complete, unique, genetically distinct human being that is made in the image and likeness of God. It's a human being. And they don't magically get their humanity at the point of birth. They are alive in the womb. And you can see from videos from babies moving in the womb. And when does their heart start beating? 18 days. 18 days after conception. The woman doesn't even know likely that she's pregnant yet.
Probably
And the baby has a beating heart. And so by abortion, you're killing that child. It's a human being of the human family. The only thing that distinguishes that...
Have you lost any children? Have you had any children die?
No, I have 6 children. I may have lost one, I don't know. Because I had thought that I had miscarried with my third. And it was just when I found out I was pregnant. So it was only 2 weeks into the pregnancy. And I was bleeding, and I was so sad for that whole weekend. So I went to the doctor on the Monday, so it was on a Saturday. And I was so sad that I lost a child. And they did the blood test, and a few days later they did the blood test again to test the hormone levels, and she was still there. And I'm so grateful for my child, for my Elizabeth. She's one of my greatest gifts. All of my children.
I'll tell you, I had a daughter born with congenital heart. Today we can see that the heart is damaged long before she was born.
But was she any less human because she had
She was no less human, but she only lived for 2.5 months. And they did every horrible, awful thing to her after she was born. I can't say that I wish her never born. But I'm saying a woman should have the choice
to kill
when she finds out that her child is not viable when it's born.
So you want
they have to have the right.
I'm not sure, but I think that picture might be offensive to the students at the school.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Maybe the principal will come out.
I doubt it.
Because they asked us not to upset the children.
Your daughter for 2.5 months lived, and she felt your love.
Yes, she did.
As a human being.
But there wasn't anything they could do for her.
But I'm sorry about that. But that's happens sometimes. God calls people.
But if I knew that when I was 6 weeks pregnant, I would not have ripped her head off. It is not like that. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, I do. Do you know what abortion is?
Yes, I do.
In the younger
I've had my own.
12 weeks.
How's that?
They stick a cannula in. They stick a tube with suction. And that baby is so fragile. It pulls the baby apart. It rips their arms and their legs and their head off.
They don't have arms and legs at that age.
Look, 11 weeks.
11 weeks.
11 weeks. Baby's arms and legs, they don't just spring up at 11 weeks out of the blue. They start developing. Do you know what? Actually,
but they do not. They are not a person as far as I'm concerned.
When is a
you
baby?
can say whatever you want. It is not a person.
Do you know what the term fetus means?
It is a person.
Do you know what the term fetus means? What does it mean? It's the Latin word for young one.
Young one.
Given in embryology to an animal at which point all the organs are present and functioning, and all that's left is refinement and growth. And in human beings, that's at 8 weeks. So at 8 weeks, that's smaller than this. All the arms and the legs and the fingers and the toes and the liver and the spleen and the heart and the brain, they're all present and functioning. And all that's left is growth and development. It's a human being. And if you were to take that cell, even that single cell, it's not egg and sperm anymore. It's a zygote.
You know, even when it was illegal, the wealthy could always get abortions and always have. And it's the poor people who suffer the most.
And you know,
and are the churches out there helping the poor people? Are they?
Yes, they are. I used to belong to the Society of St. Vincent de Paul until my son was born 2 years ago. We go to people's houses. If you need any help, go to the Society of St. Vincent de Paul. They don't help just Catholics. Most of the people we help are not Catholic.
No, I had friends who were Catholics, and the Catholic Church wouldn't help them.
They did not go to
They had to call the Mormon Church to help them.
They didn't call the Society of St. Vincent. We go 2 by 2 into the homes.
Well, good. I'm glad you do some good.
So they help people.
But I just think this is offensive. And I think this is very upsetting to young girls who have made the decision. And they have a right to make the decision.
No, they don't.
And you're out here shaming them.
Do you have a right to kill somebody? If I pulled out a gun and shot somebody?
And I wouldn't. But do we? They do it day after day. Why don't you put your time and effort into stopping the ones that are being born from being murdered?
That's what the police
Instead
do.
of worrying about
That's
the
what
ones that are still
DCFS
inside their mothers.
That's what DCFS does. That's what the police do. They try to prevent children from being murdered.
They don't do a real good
And
job.
so, but the
And then
law
how
does
many
not
of them are
defend.
abused besides?
But that's
And how
not
many
the
are in
fault.
foster care?
That's not the fault of. It's not legal. Abusing.
It's not legal.
It's illegal to kill a
legal.
child in the womb, though.
It is, and it should be.
No, it shouldn't.
I'm glad it is.
Killing a human being, and I'm sorry. For
I do
your
not
loss.
want to
I'm
pay
sorry, I'm sorry
to
you
raise
killed a child.
everyone's child to the age of whatever.
I'm sorry
and
you
there is-
killed your own child.
How many of them
I'm
are in
sorry.
prison?
God loves you, you know that?
How many of those unloved children were born and are in
You
prison?
know, more babies who are wanted, children who are wanted are abused than those who are unwanted.
I don't think
A lot
that's
of-
true.
Look up wanted children are abused at greater rates. The parents wanted them, they abused them because there's something wrong with the parents. And they try to protect them. And I'm sorry you killed your child, but you know what? God loves you.
I'm not worried about
And
it.
if you ask God for forgiveness, He will take you
I
back.
did it when the
he'll
child
heal your
was
heart.
very, very young, and I
God
do
will
not
heal
think of
you.
it as murder.
But it was.
It wasn't.
I'm sorry.
That's your opinion.
And God will
And I don't
heal you.
agree with your opinion.
You seek God.
So you can say whatever you want.
He'll heal your heart. You know, you're a mother. It must hurt.
No.
Because when I thought I lost my child through a miscarriage, it hurt.
Oh, sure.
And so
Because
it
you
must have
wanted the
hurt.
child. But when you don't want the child, and you're 15 years old, and there's no way you can take care of the child, you do not have
It's
the
still your
child.
It's still your child.
You just don't.
You know you killed your child deep
I
in your
don't.
heart.
I don't feel that way at all.
You do.
I wasn't raised to believe that, and I don't believe it.
You know you did.
I don't.
And I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
But God loves you. He'll take you back. And there's
I'm
Silent
not
No
worried
More.
about it.
Silent No More is a wonderful ministry that reaches out to women. That's Rachel's Vineyard. So if you look that up you've got it on tape, Silent No More and Rachel's Vineyard are two places for women to go for healing from abortion.
And I don't have
Because it has
any problem.
repercussions. It has repercussions.
And I have
throughout your
friends who've also had abortions
life. And
that
they're all grieving.
they're not grieving. We're perfectly fine. This causes the problem.
Why? Because
This
it
and
reminds you of your
people
pain?
being on television saying that you did this horrible, awful thing. It was not a horrible, awful thing.
Yes, it was.
It was not.
Yes, it was.
But if they don't want to talk to you, I'm not going to have this conversation. I'm not having this conversation. I'm simply telling you I want to keep the peace. Okay? You understand? You understand? Okay, I just want to make sure you understand. Okay.